यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। Let us begin Bhagavad Gita, verse number 25 of 10th chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maharshirnam Bhraguraham Giramasmekam Aksharam Yajnanam Japa Yajñosmi Sthavaranam Himalayah. Bhagavan Krishna continues his explanation about his glory. Now he says, I am the Bhrigu Maharishi among all Maharishis. So how many Maharishis are there? So there are 7 very famous Maharishis are given in our Puranas, Vedas. And those Maharishis were born out of the Sankalpa of Brahmaji. Because when Brahmaji wanted to create the world, he created first 4 Sanakadi Rishis. And 4 of them were sent to study the secret of the world under Dakshinamurti, Lord Shiva. But after studying, they become Maunis, they become Jnanis, they didn't want to enter into the Pravarti Chakra, Pravarti Nivarti Margaha. We should remember 3rd chapter. Bhagavan, he just said, Lokesmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. Immature people alone select the marga, the way of pravarti. Pravarti means to enter into karma phala and karma. They got knowledge, that highly standard knowledge converted them to select Shreyas marga, like Nachiketa did in Kathopanishad. Therefore, they were not willing to enter into pravarti marga. Then Brahmaji created these 7 rishis, Bhrigu, etc. rishis. So those rishis also were created by the Sankalpa Manasaputraha. Then there are 14 Manus were also created by Brahmaji. These 7 rishis were very famous because in India all of us belong to some of these rishis Gotra. And these rishis were very much serious to follow the dharma. They established their lineage. We all become their lineage. Parampara, Rishi Parampara. So there are only 2 paramparas available in our India. One is called Rishi Parampara. Another is called Guru Shishya Parampara. Rishi Parampara becomes like a father-son parampara. But Guru Shishya is not father-son. The Guru Shishya, the indication, the example is given Vatavriksha or banana tree. Banana doesn't produce the saplings out of the seed. It brings from the footpath of banana tree. The same way, this Guru Shishya Parampara is created. So from the feet of Guru, by surrendering his feet, a Shishya could elevate himself. This Bhrigu Maharishi has a glory. So he is not like other rishis. He is a most eminent scholar and great jnani who could examine the passions of 3 Murtis. So once it is said as a story, he wanted to examine the passions of 3 Murtis. Therefore, he went to Brahmaji. Brahmaji was annoyed easily. Therefore, he failed in the exam. Then he went to Lord Shiva. You know, Shiva is Rudraha, so who is in the form of anger itself. Then he irritated Lord Shiva. Then Lord Shiva easily got annoyed with him. He also failed. Then he went to Lord Mahavishnu to the Kshira Sagara. There he didn't speak anything. As he reached over there, he ran into Bhagavan's chest and kicked on his chest. Instead of becoming angry, Bhagavan Mahavishnu said, so is it your leg paining? Because you forcefully kicked me, your leg must be paining. Let me serve you, let me press your legs. Then this Bhrigu Maharishi, he placed, because Bhagavan Mahavishnu, he could succeed in his exam. This is in order to say the glory, because Bhrigu, his Amsha itself, therefore I am Bhrigu Maharishi among all Maharishi. Then the next is, so Aham Giram Ekam Aksharam Asmi. I am the Om among all the words. All the words means whatever the words are available in all language, Om become Pradhana. Om is one letter word. So one syllable word. We call it a monosyllable word. Because Om has got lots of glory. Om alone has derived all the words sound as Veda. Now Vedas are nothing but Om. Yaschanda samrutabho vishwarupaha chandobhyo dhyamrutaat sambhabhova samendro medhaya sprunotu. So the Om which becomes a Rutabaha, like a bull among all the cows, it becomes supreme. From the Om alone, every mantra has derived. So long back I told, Om is known as Mula Mantra. This Om is used in different way. For a Karma Kandi, Om becomes a very big weapon. Because all the mantras are derived from the Om. Therefore, Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Every mantra began with Om. And especially when there are so many yajnas are done, all the yajna mantras, they have to begin with Om. This yajna ritvik also, the Brahmaji, one ritvik who is chief, is known as Brahman, Brahma, not Brahman, Brahma. So he should permit to begin all the rituals by saying Om, Om, Om. That Om becomes the language for them. Om becomes the author of, means foundation for all the rituals. If there is no Om, no mantra will begin. Therefore, Omkar ascha tha shabdascha dva vetau brahmanah pura kantham bhitva viniryatau tasman mangalikavu bhau. This Om and Atha, both words, they came piercing Brahmaji's mouth when he thought of creating the world. Now Om is the first creation. Every creature becomes, means they have arrived from the Om. Then the next usage, Om becomes a very valid, evident pramana. Not pramana, a valid alambana. Alambana means an object for the meditation, an object for upasana. Om becomes an object for all the meditators. Without Om, meditation cannot be completed. This Omkara meditation becomes the supreme meditation. In all mantras, Om exists. In the Om, all mantra exist. So Om meditation becomes a valid through which you can reach directly to Brahman alone. Omiti Brahma, Omiti Dagum Sarvam. Therefore, Om is a great object, Alambana, Pratima or Pratika. Pratika or Pratima means a support for the meditation. So when you utter Om, so that Om connects with the supreme consciousness, pure consciousness, which was introduced in the second chapter as Atma, as Brahman. Therefore, this Om is a valid object, because meditation can be selected with any mantra. So all mantras, they have their own values, but among all of them, the Om becomes the supreme one. For Vedantis, Om is the great, a kind of pramana. So for us, because whole Mandukya Upanishad, it described the meaning of the Om. It has got the meaning. That meaning is just, supreme method in Vedantic studies. Therefore, this Mandukya Mevalam Moksharthe. This Mandukya Mevalam Mokshaya means this Mandukya Upanishad, which only describes the meaning of the Om as 3 states. Okay, so as a sleeping state, waking state, and dream state. And the author of these 3 states, and who is Sakshi of these 3 states, this Omkara becomes a valid pramana for Vedantis. This Mandukya Upanishad alone is the last Upanishads. Okay, so Hanuman have told Mandukya Upanishad eva alam, that only one Upanishad is very good enough for moksha. Therefore, this Mandukya Upanishad is just giving the meaning of the Om. Om is nothing but Brahman. So like the usage of Om, so it is mixed with our life. You should begin the day with Om. But one condition is said, so for japa, so in the next he says, Bhagavan Krishna says, Yajnanam japa yajnaha ahamasmi. So when you go for japa, you have a kind of rules. You should not chant Om separately. Like you should not take a Om as an object for the japa. Om, Om, Om. Only sannyasi or only the people who has given up Vanaprastha can do Omkara japa. Otherwise, you can take as an object for the meditation. Just you can sit and you can focus and you can become one with the Om. That doesn't matter. But when you want to get avarti done, avarti means repetitions. That repetition cannot be done as the Purasharana, because Om is Laya mantra. That's a Purana mantra, that is Laya mantra. Therefore, Laya mantra means that which symbolizes dissolution, pralaya. Pralaya means it's a positive pralaya. Every day when you sleep, your this consciousness, it goes. Consciousness means the consciousness which we call it ahankara, layam bhavati. So layam means what? It dissolves. Every day we dissolve. We means our consciousness with the subtle body. So there's all this gross ideology, all the remembrance, memories and consciousness. So everything they go and resolve in the subtle body, and subtle body resolves in the causal body. That causal body becomes one with avidya, maya, prakriti, tattva. In the same way, when you chant Om, you are taken to the supreme marga. For that you need to get eligibility. Therefore, so that one condition must be remembered. That's all. Aham Om eva ekakshara means monosyllable. Om is nothing but me. Then comes Yajnanam japa yajnaha asmi. Among all the rituals, I become a great ritual called japa yajnaha. Yajna means rituals. Ritual means fire-based rituals. But here in japa yajna, japa means repetition, mere repetitions. There is no fire involved. And there are supreme yajnas which we cannot even imagine to get it done nowadays. We cannot get it done. Ashwamedha yaga or Vishwajit yaga and Vajapaya yaga. And Rajasuya Yaga, there are so many rules and regulations are available. Ashwamedha, Rajasuya and Vishwajit. So Vishwajit can be done by this all business category people, means Vaishyas, and this Rajasuya and Ashwamedha Yaga, only Kshatriya can be get it done. And other Brahmanas, they can get it done certain Yajna Yagas. Like among them also, men have their own rules, women have their own rules, because women cannot be taken as initiation of Gayatri. Still now Upanayana ceremony only for the men. And people may come, with the questions, why women are equal to men? Who said, who denied it? Shastra never denies. So women are very much equal. They are given more respect than other society. Because a person who is married, he alone can become an yajamana for yajna. Unmarried person, brahmachari, cannot sit as an yajamana in the yajna. Any fire ritual, one should get married. And in the temples, the main Vedic temples, the temple which are established according to the norms of Vedas or norms of a proper Agama method, the married people alone are allowed to enter into the Garbhagriha, sanctum sanctorum. If he loses the wife, if he gets separated from the wife, he loses the permission to go inside of the temple. And when the yajnas are began, she should bring the fire and she should give it. She should bring the havis and she should give the permission. She should be happy, otherwise this person cannot sit as an yajamana. When you sit for sankalpa for any fire ritual, the lady's presence means a wife should be there. And a person, a male, when he is initiated Gayatri in the ceremony of Upanayana, so he is provided only 3 layers of thread. After marriage, the 3 becomes 6. So it means he symbolizes his family lineage, father's family. After marriage, he should take care of wife's lineage also. Therefore, 3 more thread is being given because he should follow, he should do anushtana of those people's rituals too. Therefore, the 6th thread, he becomes married person. He should seriously follow and get it done. And it is usually said, so don't get panic or shocked. If a man, means a male, performs the ritual which gives punya, 50% goes to his wife. If he commits a sin, means the actions which provides papa, he should enjoy 100% his own. Okay? If she commits punya phala, means wife commits punya phala, 100% belongs to her. If she commits papa, so usually, so female, they don't go for any papa karya. So if it happens to commit papa karya, 50% comes to the husband. It was the norms of ancient culture, ancient time, this understanding. So you see the responsibility of a man to take care of his family. His family means its spouse. That spouse, if even when you predict your horoscope, you should be predicted with the Navamsa, Rashi and Navamsa. So both must be the chart, both chart must be seen in order to predict your future or present conditions. So we have given not equal position, we have kept beyond our male level. Females are given respect more than other religion. And this Gayatri, so it is said, so only for men, but it doesn't mean that they cannot follow, but they can follow, but in different way. Not as the ritual. They cannot sit in the fire ritual. They need not to sit for the fire rituals. Nowadays, there are misconceptions, so people are going for it. There are norms. So certain rules and regulations must be followed, because according to their physical, psychological system, every rituals have been fixed. And one should not say that ladies should not do. It's not the rules. Ladies need not to do, because a male takes the responsibility. So we have to be humble, be respectful when we say that. We should not make it as the rules. It's not the rules, it's the norms which must be accepted with humility. Okay, then there are rules when you get the initiation. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. And when you are brahmachari, you cannot do certain things. So because Agnihotra can be began when you get married. So a married person can be Agnihotri, a brahmachari cannot be, sannyasi cannot be. So there are so many rules and regulations for normal yajnas. And you need to have lots of money even nowadays, when you want to get Ganapati Homa, at least you need to have 7,000-8,000, and you need to be very careful. If you want to get it done more than Ganapati Homa, you need to get all the materials, you need to have the space, because nowadays the flat culture has begun. We cannot let the fire. If you light the fire, then immediately neighbors will come and blame. So many norms must be followed, but for Japa Yajna, no rules at all. So all beings can take any mantra if the mantra is initiated by the proper person or proper guru. So that would be fine. If you are not getting that, so there are mantras, just Om Namo Narayanaya, or Om Namo Venkateshaya, or Om Namah Shivaya, Om Ganapataye Namaha, Om Mahashaktiye Namaha. So all these mantras can be taken for japa. Just you go on, you can sit. You need not to have all kinds of, namaskara. When you are performing the yajna, there are systems. You should take bath, you should get namaskara. So sometimes, so 11 namaskara, 33 namaskara, 108 namaskara. Those all physical things are not there. Just you can sit and you can get it done, japa yajna. If you are weak enough, just you can lean against some chair, or you can just have a small walk. Then you can get it done. This japa yajna, which is very easy but very effective. Therefore, this japa yajna becomes a very serious upasana, which is very suitable for now at present era. Therefore, japa yajna, everyone should take and adapt it in their life. Krishna says, Aham japa yajnaha. When you take any mantra, Krishna lives with you. I have understood, I have experienced the power of mantra. So mantra means it's a construction. Again and again, 1,000 times I will say, mantra means it's a construction. That construction, when you are becoming one with the mantra, that construction will establish in you. You will be developed. That growth, you can see the wonders. That becomes armor, kavacha. Mantra becomes kavacha. And mantra becomes a kind of foundation for your life, and it will show the proper path, and it will help you to make a proper decision, and it will avoid the bad people's company, evil people's company, and it will also protect you from the negative thoughts. So many plus points are there, and it will also bring proper attitude towards dharma. It will give the clarity, and it will nourish even mantras. They nourish, they also cause for the vitamins. Nowadays the research is on. And there are serious mantra. Even if you want to go to Shri Vidya, oh my God. So there are Matrika, Nyasaha, Antar Matrika, Bahir Matrika. So many things are there. You can just purify with a mantra. You can just, bring more power. You can transfer the power. The mantra siddhi is the only one dharma has in solid way, that is our Sanatana Dharma. So this japa becomes, valid, evident kind of action. Easily you can adapt. Any problem you have doesn't matter. You can generate power from inside. The things will get changed. You need not depend on anybody, because there are lots of books are available and lots of audios are nowadays. YouTubes are available. You just put just type mantras. That's all it will get. And there are rules and regulations, I accept, but this normal mantras, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Venkateshaya. So these mantras, they don't require much, serious rituals behind it. Just you start, and when you start, a proper person will come. The mantra will bring the people to get him itself to be correct. That is the responsibilities of mantra. Therefore, every one of us should be endowed with mantra. That's what the boon of being born means, being born in India. So if you are born in India, so you will be aware about this mantra. So many foreigners are coming nowadays, and they are seriously learning all the mantras. So we have to become more aware about this mantra. That's what my experience nowadays. Then Stavaranam Himalaya. I'm the mountain Himalaya among all the mountains. This Himalaya is the baby mountain among all the mountains. There are so many huge mountains are available in the world, but this Himalaya has got the glory. Himalaya, why I'm saying baby mountain, you can see that rocks are not converted as a very strong stone. They are like like a very feeble. So when the rain comes, landslides take place. But this Himalaya is the place you should at least go once in a year. You can see the transformation of your life and your psychological system. Even physically, all the disease will disappear. Just you go and wander in the Himalayas, but with proper attitude, because Himalayas, like the 7 mountains of Venkateshwara, when you walk on the 7 mountains with a proper attitude, every step you just say Om Namo Venkateshaya, Om Namo Venkateshaya. I go once in a year, definitely I don't miss it. Just I work with my students, and the students are given proper mantra. So on the way there are Dashavatara. So with every avatara we sit and we do japa, we do kirtana, nama sankirtana, then we proceed. So this is the way when you walk on the mount. So like with a proper attitude, if you go to Himalayas, you need not to see any temple over there. That Himalaya itself has a very sacred and it's auspicious environment place. You can feel it. Especially it is said this Himalaya is the place for Lord Shiva. But this place is not his place. Okay, he used to live in Smasana. The Himalaya belongs to Parvati's place, because the Parvati was Himavan's daughter. Now, for him, it's a father-in-law's house. But you might have noticed both Mahavishnu and Lord Shiva. Both, they are very comfort father-in-law's house. Because Lakshmi came from Ksheerasagara. You can see, Shri Ranganatha, who is Mahavishnu, who is in the Ksheerasagara, having Ananta Sayana, very comfortable. In the same way, Lord Shiva, who is in Kailash, means Himavan, Himalaya, is very comfortable. Okay. So therefore, you must learn the things, how to become, positive with all father-in-laws. Just I told, somebody told, I don't remember who said, both are very intelligent, they know how to manage with their father-in-laws. Like Thavaranam Himalaya, among all the mountains. Thavara means a stationary object. Himalaya ahamasmi. If you allow me to talk about Himalayan mountains, my God, I will be keep on speaking for 3 days, because so many glories, because I lived there more than I think 12 years. I lived in Rishikesh, and I used to travel, and I used to have japa meditation in lots of places on the Himalayas. I know many more places. So no human goes, but very auspicious. And so certain rishis and some of the sadhu sannyasis, they go for tapas. We will continue the next verse from tomorrow in the next episode. Harihi Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.